I am the sovereign of this land, taking the position of Great Britain when the United States ceased to exist in 1999. I'm the only person with the bill of lading on that. Everyone else is ex post facto after the fact. I have the flag, I have the fee for freight, I have the post office, and I have the Constitution, I have the claim of the life. And I'm registered with the United Nations and with the IMF, the World Bank, and all the functions around the world to be who I am. And I am who I am, for I am. And the private corporation in Dane County, Wisconsin, was trying to capture me. And I would not succumb to their fraudulent ways. Yeah, they were trying to make me a sovereign recognize their authority, and they did not have authorization because they did not have the capacity for the statement of a claim, for they were all bound under the birth certificates which were disqualified in 1999. And this
Just look at the similarities of warehouse receipts and birth certificates. Both document the date of issue, a serial number, registration number or receipt number, a description of the product, and an authorized informant to notify the appropriate government agency.
And this was 2003. And they were too naive and arrogant to even know it. So their ignorance was everywhere. And their pompousness and their cockiness and their ability to just simply beat people up, they thought that was cool. There was a judge specifically that came off the bench for me 9 times. His name was Judge Donald Hall. He taught me many secrets. And I was very blessed to have him as my foe and then as my friend later in life. Because we comprehended truth and correctness. And at the end of the day, he did want truth and correctness, though his position does not allow him to come to be correct, because he is an alien that has invaded our courthouses through the yellow fringe flags. The yellow fringe flags have no authorizations in our courthouses, not anywhere on the planet except for military parades and for the military. And that is correct for the military, but it's not correct for we the people of this planet. And I stood my ground on that. Well, needless to say, my grandma was concerned because she loves me and I loved her. And I promised her that I would go back to school to become an orthodontist if they announce a president on November 2nd. But if they did not, then I could be me. And what that means is on July 12th of 2000, I had just come out of a very difficult legal battle where they slandered me tremendously with the legal system in Fremont County. But during the time frame of learning, I learned that the clerk of court was the judge. What that means is the clerk has stamps. The stamps leave marks on the vessel paperwork. The judge has the gavel and it only makes a clang, leaves no mark. So the clerk, in fact, was the postmaster, bank banker, doing the administrative mechanics in that foreign vessel and dry dock, not the judge. Judge is only an actor with a yellow fringe flag that means nothing, with a robe that means he's mourning justice. So the clerk of courts, in fact, is the judge. Once I learned it was a postal mechanic, I went down to my local post office and worked with a postmaster for the United States Postal Service named John Gray. Now, John Gray was very by the book for the United States Post Office, but he was also a Mason. And under his 33-degree Masonry status, he wanted to learn about what I was doing with the grammar so he could learn how to safeguard his things later on in life. And I worked with him for 3 years. He taught me, took me into his office and took me around the post office in Lander, Wyoming, the U.S. Postal Service office there. And I got to learn and become very good friends with those employees at that time. They were on my side because I was a postmaster, and they were making fun of me in the newspapers about being a postmaster and the mechanics of that. And the post office was on my side. When I came out of jail the last time in Fremont County, The which I was placed in illegally, of course. The John Gray left his position as the postmaster of the post office. And I went to his post office to talk to him on why he didn't help me, because I had given him commands to help me. I'd been to the FBI. The FBI wouldn't help either. I sat down with the FBI English professors during this specific circumstance because a judge came off the bench and sat across the table from me, and then he left across the table from me and went and sat back up in his foreign jurisdiction. He broke the law, because you can't leave jurisdiction once you create joinder. Once you create joinder, you're in contract with that person. You must honor the contract. This judge was functioning dishonorably. So he'd sit across the table from me, take off his robe, and then he'd go back up onto his foreign plane and leave planet Earth. Changing planes, I apologize, breaking the continuance of the evidence. And I returned him into the FBI. The FBI sat down with me 3 times in Lander, Wyoming at the field office, and they brought in their English professors because I was explaining about the quantum grammar. They identified it to be correct. When they identified it to be correct, I then looked at their credentials. Federal Bureau of Investigation. Of is an adverb, federal is an adjective, bureau is a pronoun, of is an adverb making investigation a verb. But the prefix "in" to a word means no. So I asked them, are you doing a no-vestigation? They all laughed, and when they laughed, I says, well then, to me, the Federal Bureau of Investigation stands for fumbling, bumbling idiots.